I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do or the trouble that we get into.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent here with you on a wonderful Caldo Wednesday. Proposition Tuesday was yesterday.
It's a beautiful day with Caldo. You just going to play that in the background?
I just was making sure that the levels were good. I think we're good today.
I think we sound good. Yeah. I feel good. The course looks good. I like my chances. Tiger Woods in every press conference during the 90s.
Wow,
we might be one little click hot. I think the mics are just one click high. Right there. As I talk about the Wade and Carter weather, brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed, all the way down to the 99-cent red funnel. I have a confession to make. If I ever have to put paper price tags on a product by hand, there's no way it will cost less than $1. 56 degrees in Victoria, Texas, under sunny skies, hitting to a high today of only 83. There's the app. The
only
app never lies. 83, the winner of 25. Short-lived. Short-lived.
We need some rain, though. We do. Very dry out there. If we get a wind, there'll be a wildfire somewhere.
I want to tell you, folks, the Wade and Carter sponsor of the day, as we seek a studio sponsor, looking for the right partnership with an institution that wants immense
exposure
and growing exposure across about what, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 counties now.
Yep, at least.
It's gotten big enough that I can't really fathom it. We want to welcome our listeners in on KTMV
TV in Corpus Christi.
I'll remember that now. Texas Motor Vehicle. That's how I remember that. KTMV in Corpus Christi and all the local and regional radio stations on the No Bull Network. Magic 95.9 FM, Facebook, YouTube, Roku. Incredible range. But Veracruz is the best Mexican food in town, period.
Special good morning to those listening on 100.1 in DeWitt and Goliad counties and 103.9 in Gonzales County.
Isn't that something? Welcome in, folks.
And in about another 6 other stations, so...
You can call us anytime at 361-894-4020. We're not afraid of your calls. We welcome your calls. If you want to call in today, if you're inclined, you want to call in today to either vent or lament the elections, what happened, what's going on. One of the top news items, no doubt, although it doesn't affect us directly. Zoran Mamdani, elected mayor of New York City. I was talking to Ash on the way in this morning.
Wasn't that Genie in Big?
Yeah, that's him. He's the same guy. He can grant you a wish. Just because something is good for you doesn't mean you should vote for it. Now, it seems counterintuitive. Why would I vote against my needs? I think look there, there's Darren Valechek checking in from Ponchatoula, Louisiana, where they're waiting to see
in Ponchatoula this morning.
Ponchatoula Phil. If he comes out, he's a nutria, And if he comes out, you have sees his shadow, you have
3 more weeks of fall.
The idea would be that, like, you need to look no further than, say, South Africa. Forget race, although race is the driving factor in South Africa, but forget race. You had a very small percentage of the population that controlled the government. And the governance of the country was turned over to the masses through a democracy, or they've taken over. And now it's a dump. The whole country's a dump. The idea that a 34-year-old man who, Darren says they ate the nutria when he could. We made a little roux. The idea
Put the Holy
that,
Trinity in the pan first.
yes, you got to have the bell pepper, the onion, celery,
A little garlic.
get that going in some butter,
A garlic like that.
add in a little flour,
Woo-wee.
make a roux, peanut butter color. But the idea that Zoran Mamdani becomes mayor of New York
Justin Wilson on PBS Saturday mornings.
is absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd that, was it Mario Cuomo?
Andrew
Cuomo.
Mario was the author of The Godfather.
That's right. That was Mario Puzo.
Oh, is
At
that-
any
whatever.
rate.
Either way.
But we digress.
All those
The idea that just
those
because
pseudo mobsters.
women 18 to 34 and people with student loan debt voted to serve themselves by electing Mamdani
And want free groceries because they can't afford to live in a city of 8 million people on $20 an hour.
does not make it good for New York at all. You're seeing it here. Our big cities, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio,
Austin is
leftist
lost.
liberal hotbeds of people going to the big cities and looking for what the city can do for you. Torrin Bell says the socialist win in New York is the beginning of the end for the Democratic Party, and I'll only disagree to a point. The Democrats are the biggest chameleons of all time, right? If it takes embracing men and women's sports, if it takes embracing unimaginable LGBTQ agendas, if it takes addressing Muslims, they will morph and evolve to get the vote. They have no moral compass. They have no soul. They will tell you, this is how we feel. We feel that everybody should have a hand up at your expense, Torrin, at your expense. So,
and here's
on one
my,
hand, you're exactly right. The Democratic Party, as we know, is gone. Done. It's over. Peter McNally's Democratic Party does no longer exist.
No, but he believes this is still his party, and he
'Cause
is
it's
and
not
he's,
the
and
Republican
he's
Party.
and he's an open apologist for the socialists that are taking over the party, the communists and the Marxists. And here's the phrase they use. Mamdani is now, he was labeled through this whole thing to soften the message and the blow, a Democrat socialist. A democratic socialist. That's who Mamdani was painted by the media as. There's no democracy in deciding to take over spaces
That's right.
and put in city-run grocery stores.
And minimize capitalism in the form of all types of rent control.
Because
and who cares about the cab drivers? Everybody, you're going to give free
you're going to get free transportation.
transportation. What about all the nannies? Free. Listener says it's the economy, the tariffs, the Argentina bailout. No, it's not.
What does that have to do with New York?
Nothing. No, it's not. It's that your party is off its kilter.
And I don't believe the media. Oh, this is a slap against Trump. Why? Because a Democrat won governor in Virginia, which has been Democrat for years, decades, and a Democrat won New Jersey, which I can't
They
tell you the
usually
last
win.
time a Republican was governor of New Jersey. So
Fat
It's,
Chris
you know.
Christie. You need to look at the fact that if Donald Trump were smart, this is a key moment for Donald Trump. If Donald Trump were smart, and in this case he's not, he would just remain silent about Mamdani. The people of New York have spoken. He would turn them over to their vote. And when they come begging for government bailout money, he would just say, I'm sorry, I never knew you. That's what he would do. But he's not going to be able to help himself, folks. Be prepared for an onslaught of Donald Trump explaining, it's terrible. He's a socialist. I'm not going to be there to support New York. And he's going to dig a hole that Donald Trump digs. I know it. I know he will.
And at some point, he's going to be in that hole, and he's not going to be able to get himself out of it, because if something happens in New York City, he can't not.
Right. He's got to go in because there's 8 or 9 million people there. I think you're going to see a real escalation in deportation. You think it's been bad or pressured. You're now looking at momentum. What you're looking at now is momentum for the midterms. And if we lose all the midterms, it's basically over. It's over. Mike Gomez checking in real time. He usually checks in after with a little diatribe. He doesn't usually have the courage to come out into the daylight.
No.
What's absurd is that the President of the United States is a convicted felon. Last night, victories and all of these off victories is a referendum month, Trump. Look at the school board. Democrats are here to stay. Democrats are happy today. Have a good day, but I don't want to get dizzy here all the spin. Okay.
You just have a few mini strokes right in that,
And that
Mike?
might be a public school education right there. But at the end of the day, and Mike, you're always welcome to call us, 894-4020.
361 is the area code.
I think that shows me that maybe Mike has a really serious editor when he writes over at the local newspaper. I don't know what you do from here. I was telling Ash coming in, and I'm asking you if you ever do this. Do you ever vote for something that's against your own personal self-interests? Do you vote for something, or do you vote against something that would help you? If, like right now, we say 1 out of every 8 Americans is on SNAP. What if 6 out of every 8 Americans were on SNAP, and they all voted to make sure that SNAP was preserved? Is that what's in the best interest of the country? To me, the answer is clearly no. And I think these people voting based on their feelings, voting based on we joke about the Aggies. I love the Aggies. We joke about the idea that they have 2 teams they root for, the Aggies and whoever's playing Texas. The Democrats right now are in such disarray that the well-meaning Democrat, the educated Democrat, that's not like jumbo shrimp. There are educated Democrats, some of them too educated. All they've done is study. They've never done anything. Those folks are not voting for the Democrats. They're voting against the Republicans. Donald Trump, extremely polarizing figure. He is. This whole MAGA term, MAGA, that's all been proliferated by the mainstream media that hates the right.
It's become its own noun or verb, depending on the usage. But,
Yeah.
I mean, really think about it. Why take Donald Trump out of it? How could you really be against making America great, whether it's again or for the first time? But because Donald Trump spewed it and it became his campaign mantra, the left hate Donald Trump so badly, they're against making America as good as it can be. Now, if Donald Trump would have ran as a Democrat, they would love the guy.
Oh, they would love. Hillary Clinton loved him when he was giving them money back in the 90s. H.R. Mallory says, such a Donald moment, Brent. I love the Aggies. Super good people. Good people on both sides. There were good people on both sides of that stadium. All the Longhorns were way up in the nosebleed section. There was a maroon sea everywhere.
Consider the irony of a socialist Marxist becoming mayor of the greatest city in the world, arguably at one point.
People swaying.
longer.
I wouldn't sway. I wouldn't.
A city that was built on capitalism.
A city that built capitalism.
Yeah, you could make that argument.
Yeah.
The city that was one of the first seats of the federal government in this country. The irony of electing a socialist communist / Marxist to lead what was arguably the greatest city founded on capitalism ever is not lost on me.
Well, here's what's scary.
But it's lost on the people of New York City.
Here's what's scary. Of which you said there's 5 million eligible voters and a little over 2 million voted.
5 million registered voters, less than half of them voted in the election for mayor to lead their city.
I guess they just don't think it's that big a deal. Which, again, New Yorkers not always the most brilliant.
Well, and again, I don't know that he's going to be able to do all he wants to do because they do have 51 city council members that have to pass everything that he wants to do. But
Can
still,
you imagine their city council meetings, 51 different council members? What a clown show. I don't know what you do with this fact. Since the Democrats found a way to get Kamala Harris on the presidential ballot with no due process, with not one cast vote in a primary, the idea that they railroaded everything. Don't be surprised if Zoran Mamdani is not a favorite to seek the presidential nomination for the 28 election. Don't think for a minute that in this world of flash and glitz that you don't start seeing pictures of Zoran with Robert De Niro, Zoran with Madonna doing free concerts in in the big
Central
Park for the homeless with sterile needle stations provided. Don't be surprised when that happens.
AOC already handed him the torch last night when she said this is about the new leadership of the Democrat Party. She basically acquiesced her position as that leader to Mamdani.
A 34-year-old guy born in Uganda who, oh, that's right, he can't run for president.
No.
Oh, thank you, Lord, for little gifts. Yet. He can't run for president yet. Did you know, this will blow your mind, I'll ask you people this.
Wasn't that where Obama was born?
Did you know
no, that was Kenya.
What percentage, you may have heard it. If you heard it, I'm not going to get you to play dumb.
Okay.
What percentage of Texans not only weren't born in Texas, weren't born in the United States? You have any idea? Not that their parents came here from Mexico. I'm not talking about that. And welcome, Magic 95.9 listeners. Do you have any idea what percentage of Texans were not born in this country? 18.2%.
One of them.
That, right. Okay, so go to the next level. Do you know what percentage of Houstonians were not born in the United States of America that live in Houston and vote? They may be American now, but they weren't born here.
Nope.
28%. More than 1 out of 4. More than 1 out of 4. Or as you would say, that's almost 30%.
Which I don't have a problem with.
I don't
most
either,
people
except-
came here from somewhere else. But here's the problem
but
I
they're
do
just
have.
not Texans.
They
and
don't
get
have
it.
the values.
That's
They
right.
don't hold the values. They don't. Andrew Wilkow, conservative talk radio host, says this, and I completely agree. You cannot bring there to here without here becoming there.
That's right.
They come here. They do not embrace America. They do not embrace the values that made this country great, hence wanting to make it great again. They come here looking for the government to take care of them because here's the irony, here's the weirdest thing. For people who have been so crapped on by their governments in the countries they are fleeing, they come here and think this government will take care of them. They should have the least amount of trust in government of anybody.
That's right. They should be going, what an opportunity. Listener adds, fewer percent than the 1800s, probably for sure than in the early 1800s, no doubt, because so many of the people that were in this country, percentage-wise, had emigrated here from...
On the Mayflower in the 1800s.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt those people were still alive and in a high percentage. But the difference is those immigrants came from, say,
Ireland
or English rule, and they came in and created a nation that led them in that generation to say, you will come here and assimilate. Here,
you will come here to free the oppressive rulers of the countries that you're in.
Right. At the end of the day, AOC the other day bragged that there were 101 languages spoken in her district, and the crowd cheered. Why don't they all learn English? Why aren't they all American? Why do we have, little Somalia? Why do we have little Ethiopia?
How do you get things done if you got to try to...
You can't, which is why New York is broke, which is why they're desperate, which is why they're reaching out to a socialist to give them free grocery stores, free child care.
Because SNAP isn't enough.
SNAP is not enough. I would do away with SNAP like that. Get a job. Get a job. Go hungry. There you go. Drop the minimum wage. Everybody go to work. It'd be great. Eliminate the minimum wage.
Let's really talk about what SNAP is. It's corporate welfare.
It's
subsidies.
Yeah, B.J. Nelson speaks, and I agree with her. When a politician is elected and says, I'm going to do this or that, before they know how the system works, is a very naive conversation. I want to know the worldview an elected person has, so I know how they will handle everything that comes at them when they are in office. What is at your core? And not what am I going to do for you?
But the problem is, BJ, you are probably one of maybe 20% of voters who actually cares about those things.
Yeah.
The rest of them that go out and vote just care about the sound bites and what they can get or perceive to get from the government or the elected official. And don't get me started on the PACs and the donors who actually influence elections to get what they want by electing certain people.
When I was dumb enough to run for mayor of this fair city, River City, the Crossroads, I remember sitting down with Tom Halapaska, longtime city council member, and a solid guy, a good guy, and asking Mr. Halapaska, what do I have to do to make a difference? And he said, you got to really slow down. He said, the wheels of government move extremely slowly. And I said,
almost
why?
as slow as Tom speaks.
I said, why? Why in Victoria? Emmett Alvarez, give us a call, 894-4020. This is not an apologies day for me. I'm making no apologies. I'm noting the day so that I can come back in about a year and say, I would never say, I told you so. All I'm doing is going on record as saying, New Yorkers, number one, they're going to flee. The people that have money, the people that he wants to tax are going to leave. Tariffs are not tanking the dollar. Did you see where Donald Trump was using tariff money to prop up SNAP? Tariffs are not tanking the dollar.
Tariffs tank the dollar, but our weakening of the dollar through all the money we've been printing has not weakened the dollar at all.
Let's see if I can get this on the air. I try so
There
hard.
we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show.
Good morning, boys.
Hello,
David
my
Alvarez.
friend. How are you,
How
sir?
are y'all doing?
We're good.
What up? What
So,
up?
so
What a
Emmett,
beautiful
you,
day.
okay, yeah, okay.
It is a
I'll go
beautiful
with that.
morning.
I'll go with that. So here's what I want to ask you.
Go ahead.
We have a huge audience now, okay? So understand that we're in Goliad,
Yeah,
DeWitt
y'all
County.
on some kind of bull network?
No Bull Network, the No Bull Network. So we're on a
no bull. I'm sorry.
we're on a
Go
large
ahead.
people that may not know you. There may be counties out there that you have neither lived in nor run for office in. And
Most of them.
most of them, yes, sir. And you know, I mean, you and I are, I think, very close. And my question to you would be this: you are among, I've said it to you a thousand times, the most conservative, certainly fiscally conservative Democrats I've ever met. You
We
are,
went to the University of Texas.
yes, sir. And I would say that you're as far from a Marxist as a Democrat can get. Is that a fair statement? You're not a Marxist.
Well, I've never claimed to be.
Okay.
I grew up as a capitalist. I've grown up hungry. I've grown up having to work my ass off. Okay.
Fair. So how do you reconcile that Zoran Mamdani is now the face of the Democrat Party in New York?
Well, I don't reconcile anything. I see him and his agenda or campaign no different than I see Donald Trump. Promises, it's all BS. No delivery. Getting past that city council, good luck. You're going to get free everything, good luck. How are you going to pay for it? Good luck. It's following, in my opinion, the Republican playbook.
But see, here's the
You
difference.
make promises, you tell lies, you get elected, and nothing happens. It goes the opposite.
So then why would
That's what
New
I-
Yorkers vote for such a cad?
Well, why did people vote for Donald Trump?
Well, you're trying to tell me that Donald Trump has got nothing done as president of the United
He's-
States.
promises-
That's the
nothing,
argument. No,
but
that's
he's
the
got-
argument you just made. You just said it's all been smoke and mirrors. It's all lies. He doesn't get nothing
Yeah,
done.
Yeah. Where's Ukraine, brother? Where's Ukraine? What has he done? First day. What has he done to bring prices down? First day.
Prices are down.
Let's go with the first. Let's go with those first two. Tell
Well,
me.
I'll tell you about Ukraine.
What?
Donald Trump went in and negotiated, I thought, in good faith, both in Alaska and in D.C., with both Vlad Putin and Vlad Zelensky. And Zelensky is unreasonable at the demise of his country. I don't believe that Zelensky giving up land for peace is fair. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that anything about fair is involved in war. But the same people that want America to back Zelensky and fight to the death because they don't want him to give up any land are the same people that refer to the Jews as Zionists who ought to give up Gaza for peace. They're the same people.
And Donald Trump didn't make an empty promise. He got the Abraham Accords accomplished in his first term, which probably led him to believe he could get peace brokered between the Ukraine and Russia if he did what he did in the Middle East, which is historical.
Right.
And he's tried.
That's almost laughable.
How is that laughable? He had a track record of establishing peace in the Middle East.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where's Gaza now? What has happened
Where's what?
since that? Where's Gaza now? What position is Gaza? What has happened to the Palestinians? What has happened to that whole area, that whole region?
The same thing that's been happening to it for 20 years. You've got a bunch of terrorists running a country.
Now we got to go bulldoze the place.
It needed to be bulldozed decades ago. It's not just now.
Oh, yeah.
Hamas has run that place. I can be against Hamas, and I can feel for the people of Palestine, the Palestinian people there. They're not mutually exclusive, but to give Hamas completely a blank slate and a clean slate and no responsibility for the death and destruction that is going on there because they continually. He just brokered a peace deal 3 weeks ago, and Hamas has already blown it to smithereens, right?
And how long do again, we've been dealing with that crisis or the Middle East for how long? And no president has ever really fixed it. You can call all these, accords and go back to when what?
Well, the Abraham Accords have nothing to do with Israel and
if
Gaza.
If that's the case, though, and I don't disagree with you, if that's the case, then you really can't blame Donald Trump for the problems in Gaza.
Then he shouldn't have made the promises he's made. I mean, it just goes back. It's just a fundamental.
What else could he have done? I'm serious about that.
Did you hear from this guy that won the mayor's race?
And you think he's going to be fine?
Won the presidency. Promises. You can tell the people all this stuff. One election after another. And
So you guys.
But it sounds like, Emmett, it does sound like, and I'm not saying you're wrong at all. It sounds like you are disenchanted with the process altogether, which is not, I don't think is an inaccurate way to be. You're like saying, well, nothing's going to happen. They all make promises. Nobody keeps their promises. Doesn't matter which side it is. They're all lying to you.
So what you're saying is the Dems had to find their own version of Donald Trump to elect him.
Is that?
What have people been saying to the Dems? You got to fight fire with fire. And that's what is happening. I've said it a long time. You go into an election, you can embellish, you can bend the truth, you can say anything nowadays you want to. Just as long, the name of the game is to win and to get elected.
It's not nowadays. FDR made the same promises that he was going to get people out of the Great Depression.
And he did, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
That's the difference.
It took time, and he didn't. Now that you look back on it, the Great Depression
World War
got
II.
itself out of the Great Depression, really, if you think about it.
The war solved the Great Depression.
Emmett, we appreciate the call.
Hey, Emmett, always,
Thanks.
brother.
Okay.
Be well.
Thank you. Anybody else want to give us a call? 361-894-4020.
It's just that easy. We're not here. I'm not here to attack anyone. I don't have to agree with you. I'll give you all the rope you need to hang yourself with your
But it is funny, though, that's one narrative that the media was pushing this morning, that Mamdani was basically Donald Trump making promises with writing checks that he can't cash
well, now
when
he's
he's
got
elected
built-in
mayor.
excuses, right?
Yeah.
He can say, nobody's working with me. I have a vision, but nobody's working with me. I'm a victim here, which is straight out of the Democrat playbook.
Which is I just think it's hilarious that this is where they're going. We basically elected our own version of Donald Trump in New York City.
Right. So 2 quick points. Torrin Bell says Emmett cannot be happy that the socialists have taken over his party. I agree.
But they won't.
He's happy that it wasn't a Republican. H.R. Mallory, both Prop A and Prop B passed in our fair city. Firemen will now be civil servants, and they will have collective bargaining. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends, effective next Thursday, the 13th. It's about as democratic as you get. First ball pops at 7:30. Everybody's there. everybody has an equal card. Nobody gets, I mean, just because you're a Democrat, you don't get like 5 free squares. You have the same free square as everybody else.
Right in the middle of the card.
Capitalist bingo. Be there with Wade and Carter next Thursday. Not tomorrow, next Thursday. USA Concrete Coatings had a conversation with Elaine Garcia yesterday. Super fine lady. She and her husband have built a concrete empire down in the Corpus area and in Victoria. USA Concrete Coatings, USA Foundation Repair. Reach out to the Garcia brothers. They will take care of your concrete needs. Allen's Wrecker Service. If you can hear us, Allen's can help you. If you're in a big rig and end up in a ditch, Allen's has a 75-ton crane. They can get you out of said predicament. Veracruz Restaurant. Today, Veracruz is our sponsor of the day.
And it just so happens to be Caldo Wednesday today.
It's Caldo Wednesday. It's the day that everybody in this region goes in to have Caldo. It's the one day of the week that they serve it. You can get in there and have a great day. Para Vida Wellness and the Vida Cafe. The Vida Cafe offering live music on Thursday evenings.
Tomorrow evening.
Also having
5:30 to 7:30.
Having a brunch and doing other things. So there's one thing about Facebook is if you're on Facebook, you can have a conversation with your friends on the comment side as you go. Mike Gomez, local pundit of sorts, saying that Trump has a 37% approval rating. That's according to a CNN poll. I did see that poll. I don't know what the questions were. You know, could the president be doing a better job in Ukraine? If you say yes, that's a negative on his approval rating. Okay, I'll go with that. But the back and forth, the idea that I went in and listened. I'm listening to the book Under Siege by Eric Trump, and I did not know this. These 34 counts of felonies that Donald Trump was convicted on. The Democrat, the leftist, the ridiculous judge that presided over the case, the charge that he gave to the jurors was this: I'm not asking you to all be in agreement on the charges. If you feel that he's guilty, you can find him guilty. There's the preponderance of the evidence. It doesn't mean that you and I have to agree that he intentionally defrauded Chase Bank. It means that if you feel that your definition of fraud, it was about your feelings. It was whoa, feelings. If you feel that Donald Trump did this, so they're all decidedly leftist to begin with. The whole thing, why isn't he in jail? How can it be that there were no victims, there were no unpaid debts, the loans were all paid back with interest? How can it be that Donald Trump's fine was almost $500 million when Boeing had 2 jets go down that literature, that circumstances and evidence show they knew had problems? Over 380 people died, and they got fined $250 million. How can it be? Politics. That's why Donald Trump's not in jail. Why wasn't Donald Trump sentenced?
Well, and now they're all making apologies for Letitia James, who basically made
she's
very
a criminal.
Similar crimes.
She's a criminal.
Allegedly.
Straight up criminal.
In trying to get a favorable first mortgage.
She got that loan.
Which she did.
For a house, you're only allowed to do that if it's your primary residence. And and in her case, it would need to be in New York City because, you know, she's the New York Attorney General. It turns out it was out in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And she bought it as a rental property. And she used that card. She claimed that it was her primary residence.
Which means she shouldn't have been Attorney General.
Right. So she knowingly, wantonly,
she was prosecutor.
She falsified evidence to get a favorable loan rate. It is fraud.
That is
you
fraud.
may say, "Oh, that's no big deal." It was only
which the Democrats are doing.
That all the Democrats are poo-pooing it away. That is their Attorney General. That would be Well, I won't even make an analogy. I was going to say
Don't
something
bother,
about a
it'll be
district
lost on
attorney
him
or
anyway.
something. That she knowingly, wantonly falsified information. All Trump is doing is flipping the narrative so that people like me who think independently can say, so I'm a billionaire and I took out a couple $100 million in loans and I paid them all back, and you're upset because I did exactly what his team did, exactly what every one of you would do. I'm going to the CAD. I want my home valued low. I'm going to the bank. I want my home valued high. The banks
I'm
pull their
selling my
own.
house. I want the realtor to get as much as he can.
The banks pull their own appraisals. Chase Bank did not just say, "Oh, Donald, what's that building worth? $200 million. Well, we'll loan you 80% of that." Didn't happen. They had their own people do the research and say that this platinum level borrower should have this loan. Then he turns around and raises the value of the asset that the money is being borrowed against by investing back into the asset. He didn't take the money and go party. He didn't break any laws. This was just the next step. He got elected. Oh my, we can't control him, so we're going to harass him and impeach him and accuse him of things that he's never been accused of ever in his life, ever. Raping a woman in Bloomingdale's. Where was all that in the 90s when it supposedly happened? She was a strong, independent woman. He wasn't the president of the United States. That's why. So they
No,
make
but
up
he
this
was
crap.
considered a Democrat back then.
So he was fine. He's a Democrat. She was willing to give it up.
Now he's a Republican.
So then they impeach him. So then they sue him civilly. So then they try to kill him in Butler, Pennsylvania. At what point does even the most ardent leftist realize it's politics? That they tried to kill the man. I don't get it.
The left is Lenin. Trump is Trotsky.
There you go. Linda Chris says, I say all we need to do is just sit back and watch New York. 100% agree. It's not going to be an easy fail for them, but they will fail because nothing is free.
I don't even know that they're going to go that far as to fail, but nothing will get better because, as Emmett Alvarez correctly pointed out, Mamdani can't get it done himself.
Go up there and see what Peter McNally said. Peter McNally, one of our resident leftists, great guy. The young vote in New York is who got Mamdani elected. They love New York and want to be able to live and work there. They're priced out of the market.
Poor choices, Peter.
There you go. That's right.
That's a choice. They want to live in New York. They can't afford to. They're not doing anything to better their ability to live in New York.
I want to live in Naples, Florida, but I'm priced out of the market. It just doesn't seem right.
No.
I should elect a socialist who's going to take over the Publix over there and turn them into government-run grocery stores.
You ever been to West Palm Beach? Really nice place.
Perfect
I'd love
sense,
to live
doesn't
there.
it? It makes perfect sense until you think.
But this is the thinking and it's not just New York. Young people want to live in certain cities, but they think that making $15 an hour is enough to let them live there.
Well, they know it's not, but that means that you should subsidize them
Absolutely.
with SNAP and rent
After
control.
mom and dad stop subsidizing them.
I need you to pay off my student loans. I need a free ride to work. I want to shop at a grocery store that subsidizes the food. I
deserve is actually more what it is. It's I want this and I deserve it because there is no because they haven't been.
Because.
They faced no hardship. Mom and dad bulldozed everything in front of them that was ever an obstacle.
Because of the wonderful things he does.
Yep.
There you have it. Cody Bauman says, the sports advocate, great time to mention our buddy Mike Foreman. You want to get away from all this? You should get away from all this. Mike Foreman, legendary regional writer. If you're listening to us on the No Bull Network, Mike Foreman has written about your teams sports.
Yeah, in
for
fact,
40 years.
Tidehaven is this current article. He's writing about Tidehaven football.
You should reach out via either our website, wadeandcarter.com, or you can go to thesportsadvocate.com and subscribe. You need to subscribe. It's not, Mamdani is not giving you this membership. It's $9.99 a month or $100 a year. Get you 2 months for free. And every week, Mike is putting out, I think, his best work, his most inspired work, his unfettered work.
Yep.
He writes what he wants to write. It's always got an angle that involves people and personalities and families and great stories. I mean, I didn't know. I've lived in this area most of my life, and I didn't know that Bay City and El Campo was the oldest football rivalry in the state.
No, me either.
The work is great. Go find the Sports Advocate, please. We're doing this
thesportsadvocate.com.
for Mike. He's still got a lot of writing to do, and our local newspaper couldn't afford him anymore. They decided they couldn't, and they cut him loose after 42 years. The man wants to write. If you're a Democrat, if you're Mike Gomez, if you're Emmett Alvarez, if you're Tammy Keeling, and you don't subscribe to the Sports Advocate, you're a hypocrite. You're a straight-up hypocrite. There you go. Folks, Chesnick Furniture. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get in, see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Bobby, Leon, and his family, eager to serve you and yours. Great folks, great products. Best recliners, best furniture, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster.
Best is American made, by the way.
Sealy Posturepedic, they've got it all at Chesnick. White Trash Services. White trash for all your garbage needs. This is a good time of year when the days are clear and it's not too hot. Call and schedule a roll-off dumpster. You can get it dropped off on a Friday. You can load it up all weekend.
They'll pick it up on Monday.
Yep, they'll
and
come
you've
back
got a clean
and get
garage or a clean attic or a clean shed, whatever.
No doubt.
Anywhere in the listening area, White Trash Services has you covered.
550-1826, and they guarantee you'll talk to a human being. Brand us, our man, Commander Cody, back in studio tomorrow. Better be back. Cody's going to be here. Look him up on Facebook. Brand us. He can help you market, monetize, clean up. Some of your websites suck.
Yeah, he does a really good job on the websites. He's done some nice work on some websites. I mean, ours alone, he's really made a little more user-friendly.
There you go. Atzenoffer and atzenoffer.com. Atzenoffer, your home for your next Chevrolet. See the USA in a Chevrolet. Go to Atzenoffer today. You can find a gently pre-owned vehicle, mini certified pre-owned.
Dems don't want to see the USA in a Chevrolet. They want to see it on free high-speed electric trains and free transit.
Stupid. Went Services and Went Electrical. I'm going to do a story. Maybe I'll send Mike Foreman to do a story on.
You just went Canadian on me. Story A.
Story A on Junior Sample, Robert Christ on Junior's Generac. No, I think he went Kohler install. Coming up, we'll do that in the next couple of days. We'll have some stuff on the wadeandcarter.com. Or as you always say, on the Facebooks, on the wadeandcarter.coms.
On the YouTubes.
So
I pluralize the YouTubes and the interwebs.
That's just like when Jerry Jones used to talk, and he would say, we've got the Troy Aikmans, we got the Emmitt Smiths. And he meant, great players. But, I mean, if you had more than one Emmitt Smith, we'd have been fine.
Still be fine.
I'm curious. You just had one of your listeners said that House Speaker Mike Johnson is the one keeping the government closed. Why is it that the Democrats can't relate that if you have something on the floor and every single Republican votes for it, it still takes, even though we have a majority, 53 out of 100, so it's on the Senate floor, why is it that you still need 7 because it takes 60% to pass? And if none of the Dems, in this case, I think we have 2 now, that Fetterman and someone else, I think, it doesn't matter. They voted at least 13 times.
14 maybe now.
Why is it that, like, Chuck Schumer, for example, is so worried about AOC coming after his Senate seat that he doesn't really know what to do? Does he, if he acquiesces, because elections have consequences, according to Barack Obama, if he acquiesces and votes in his mind with the Republicans as opposed to open the government, then he's afraid AOC is going to label him weak.
Well, and he's called out those consequences. He said, you know what, the Dems can come after me.
Yeah.
They'll primary me. Fetterman has called the Dems bluff.
I think I might vote for Fetterman, to be honest, if I had the opportunity. I don't think he's a complete buffoon. Ever since he had that stroke, he's actually made some sense. But what gets me is the Democrats, and you can easily figure out your own analogy. The Democrats lost the election. The voters said, we're tired of y'all wasting money on circumcisions in Haiti. And then the Dems come back and say, we want $1.5 trillion. Basically, they want to undo the big, beautiful bill.
Because it only gave tax breaks to the rich, right?
I don't get it.
What is it? The 50% of this country pays no federal income tax at all?
No,
None.
No. Now, I don't know how. So Mike Gomez is adapting into the victim role, and I don't know where it comes from. I have not called him a name.
No.
He says, I'll take all the name-calling, sticks and stones. I know who I am, and I consider the source. Maybe like Jewel Buchanan will come over and rub your temples. I don't know. Maybe we could elect Jewel Buchanan, CEO of Caterpillar. I mean, that's about how qualified Zoran Mamdani is to be mayor of New York. 34 years old, never had a job. Lied about, oh, I'm just a poor kid. Oh, yeah, just like AOC.
Yeah,
went to
trust
Columbia.
fund baby.
Liar. You wait until, and it's going to happen. You know, Milwaukee now, inner city Milwaukee, the Muslim population off the chain. You wait. It's coming. And good Catholic boys like Emmett Alvarez who just want to see everybody get a fair shake. When Sharia law comes in and they start telling your wife to cover her face, you'll have a whole new life. And if you don't think it's coming,
It's coming.
it's coming. And
Just look into Europe to see what's going on.
Europe
there.
regrets all the trans surgeries. Europe regrets all the immigration with all the muzzies.
That didn't assimilate. Yep.
Nope.
Let 'em-
Those that didn't assimilate, it ain't good.
And let's talk about Texas for a minute, because I was really surprised that all 17 constitutional amendments passed. I was pretty sure that the tax breaks would pass because people are tired of being taxed. But then on the flip side, they turn around and give $4 billion of taxpayer money to establish a dementia research fund and to prop up TSTC, because we only have how many community colleges that are trying to do the same thing, and TSTC, $850 million. And here's the argument. Well, it's coming from the surpluses. Well, what happens when there's no surplus?
I don't disagree.
And here's what they can do. The lawmakers can say, well, you've mandated that we spend this money on dementia and TSTC. So it's not our fault if we have to cut spending elsewhere. You wanted this.
I'll admit I don't usually talk about the way I vote. I will tell you that I did vote for Proposition 1 because I was blessed to attend the University of Texas. Many of you were blessed to attend Texas A&M University. Both schools benefit from the Permanent University Fund. Both schools benefit from oil revenue that's captured off of state of Texas land. And while that may be twisted logic, I have to say that I realize that our world needs more tradespeople. And although you could argue Well, now you've given government assistance to TSTC, which is competing with our own Victoria College. There is some truth in that.
Well, they were already giving money to TSTC, it's Texas State Technical College. And are they not already starting to meet that demand? I mean, TSTC used to be in Waco.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one on the drive to Houston now. They're popping up everywhere. And but here's the other problem. You can build them all. Will they come?
Right.
They're not coming out of high school going into the trades now. So until you convince kids there that they need to do this, but we're not.
Nelson says the way the amendments were worded, they all sounded great, and I think that's true. I was trying to figure out if we have a 2.26 something like that rate for taxes, and it's per thousand, right? 2.26 per thousand. To raise the exemption, say for example, on your home taxes, from 100,000 to 140, that spread 40 grand, so that's $40. It's like $100 in taxes that you save. Sounds great. Sounds like the government really give you a big increase, in tax savings. But 40,000 divided by 100 would be 400, right? Times 2.26 is like $89. I don't get it. Monty Hart says permanent university fund, then amend the PUF to include TSCC. No. There's your answer. No. The PUF set up to meet the legislature's requirement that the state of Texas provide a university of the highest order, later adapted to include Texas A&M.
Land grant.
Yeah, so, no.
TSTC does not have access to the same higher education funds other community colleges do, according to Tammy says that Sheriff Louderback, Representative Louderback confirmed that yesterday. But then did we really need a constitutional amendment, or could lawmakers not somehow manage to do that?
And I think that's a key question right there. Do we need to? I think what you're seeing, and I would never speak for Sheriff Louderback, number one, because I'm scared of him. But I would tell you that what I think they're saying, because the Republicans are in charge, is they're saying let's make this law so that we don't have to rely upon future legislatures to agree with what we just agreed with. We agree that TSTC should probably be funded. But if we don't make it law, then the next group could say, we want to only fund historically black technical colleges. I mean, there you go. That's what the left could do. We want. They could.
I think it's worse. I think it's worse than that. I think they're just shirking their responsibility as state lawmakers and putting it on the voters so they can then blame the voters when and if the dollars shrink and they have to give $4 billion to that.
Love money, Howard. Yep. He says, yeah, I'm okay. He's okay. Good job.
And I got a text message this morning from Marnie Conrad, who thanked us in helping get the word out for Proposition 3, which did allow judges to be a little tougher on repeat violent
felons. Well, and it also holds those
control.
judges accountable.
Yeah.
If a judge decides to let somebody out that's these are not made-up stories. This guy's he's 17 years old. He's been arrested 146 times. He's never posted bail. They always let him out because he's just a child.
Cuts
he's
off his
trying to get his
ankle
life
monitor,
right.
and
Nobody cares.
Nobody
Goes and kills a kid in the park, and they let him out on bail. It's just so now they're saying judges can say, we're not letting you out. You're a threat. You're a violent offender. You're a rapist. You're a
But
murderer.
they actually have to write down the reasoning as to why or why not they do this now, which will be interesting. And, lawmakers should have done a bunch of things that end up as amendments. Also letting the people vote is all fine until it comes to voting for vouchers.
Well, see, here's the deal. I mentioned this earlier, and it's not a negative. It's not a put down to anybody. If people would vote for what's best for the state, best for the country, without their own self-interest involved, going to the polls is not a poll of how you feel. It's a poll of what's best for the country. I believe for example, that the tariffs are working. I believe that the temporary pain that we feel is long overdue and that this period of time will pass, and that if you don't think that our economy was in trouble under Joe Biden, inflation last month was under 3%. It hovered around 9 to 11, up as high as 17% month over month.
Well, and don't forget, we've changed completely how we calculate inflation, because I've seen some reports that if we calculated inflation the same way we did in the early 80s,
Yes.
we would have been in the 20-25% range of inflation.
It would have made Jimmy Carter look like a genius of the economy.
Absolutely.
Folks, we've reached the top of the hour. Thank you so much. Emmett Alvarez, thank you for the call.
Mike Gomez, thanks for chiming
Mike,
in.
God bless you, sir. Hang in there. And you guys would just, man, go out. Keep the conversation going. Goodbye, No Bull Network, YouTube, Facebook, Magic 95.9. We will talk to you mañana.
Bye, folks.
I've been locked up for driving 120 through town.